So when we get into models of effective instruction related to MOOCs and open education and all the derivatives that exist out there, you have to start thinking about what is the learner, what are the types of learners that you have? Who's the audience? Who are the stakeholders? What are your objectives that you have in delivering this content out there? Is there something unique about them? That, is it alumni from your program that you're delivering a MOOC for to upskill them or reskill them in? Are they potential students that you're trying to get convinced that this is an interesting program that they might enroll in? Or might these be government officials who are funding your enterprise, your organization or institution? Who are the major stakeholders out there for this? For instance, in the UK, they had MOOCs on taxation to get the general public understanding or aware. Or in Africa, they had MOOCs on Ebola crisis when it happened. The stakes were very high in that regard. Sanitation kinds of skills that they were trying to teach and understanding and awareness extremely high. So are these public health related that have a general public service related to them? Are they like the World Bank, looking at poverty and literacy and family planning? These are humongous issues that are global in nature, that are globally impactful. Or is the audience some potential students, as I mentioned earlier, who might come into the course? So to deliver that content then might address those different audiences at different levels. Do they have a lot of prior knowledge coming in to the class? What's the level of knowledge that you're looking at with the students who are taking the class? So in terms of delivery, you also have to understand what their English or Spanish or language skills might be like. So when you use terms, are they aware of them? Are they aware of your metaphors or analogies? So becoming sensitive to the cultures that are out there taking the MOOC. Is it, here in Catalonia, is it students who are going to be located in this region or the surrounding regions or globally around the world? What is the mix? So in delivering, you have to first understand the learner. Second, you have to understand the technology tools that you have out there at your disposal and which of those can you embed in the course in an effective, functioning, interactive way. What are some peripheral materials and resources and tools that you might embed in animations, simulations, or other kind of interactivities to engage the learner? So that's another very variable, another consideration that you have to take in delivering that instruction. And do they have the tools to access it adequately in the speed in which you're expecting them to have? Will they have the same bandwidth to download those contents? So a lot of variables you have to consider. Also the length of any video lectures in that delivery, and how much do you provide ahead of time and how much do you incrementally provide for your students each week in each module? How do you package it in the delivery? Do you put everything up ahead of time, or do you make it available as units that gradually become available for students over time, or is it a combination of both? And then in terms of the delivery, you have to also think, do you want to do formative assessments along the way and improve then on the components of the class, the design of those components as you move along, or do you rely more on summative evaluation towards the end, or some kind of combination thereof? So there are many factors to consider in the design as well as the delivery of your instruction when you do a MOOC, because this is more impactful than a typical class. The students will be coming from dozens, if not almost 200 countries around the world. So a huge area today that researchers are looking at is called the Communities of Inquiry model, which comes out of Canada, a guy named Randy Garrison out of the University of Calgary. And I think your friends here in Catalonia include Terry Anderson from Athabasca University. They've become known for this COI model, Communities of Inquiry. And in there, as someone who's teaching a MOOC, you have to consider what teaching presence do you want to have? What kind of social presence do you want to have? And what kind of cognitive presence do you want to have? So to what level are you moving students in terms of the level of discourse within the class? In Bloom's taxonomy, an old standard template for thinking about the level of discourse from knowledge-based to evaluation and synthesis. There's a range of things that you can happen in terms of cognitive presence within the class. And you can elevate that by having students take on roles, or you can have them ask questions at different levels of the Bloom's taxonomy criterion. You can also look at the teaching presence. How often are you there? How much are you participating as an instructor teaching that MOOC? When do you give feedback? How do you give feedback? That kind of thing. So you want to consider the cognitive presence, teaching presence, and then social presence. How do you welcome people into the MOOC? Do you recognize them by name? Do you point out where people are coming from? When I taught a MOOC, the first MOOC that was ever done for Blackboard, when we did synchronous sessions and recorded them, I'd recognize the people I'd see coming in on the chat window and say hello. And I'd have a little map next to me or a globe next to me and put little stickers of where people are coming from in the class to personalize it a bit. And get say, oh, everyone from Mexico, can you give a response right now? Everyone from South America, maybe, can you give a response? Everyone from Europe. So I tried to get at some of those teaching social and cognitive presence variables through different ways to interact within the chat window space, as well as the discussion forums, as well as students have their own blogs, their own wiki-like tools. And so you want to try and have a schedule to some degree of when you're going to be responding to students in the discussion forums, or you will always be there. You won't get away from it, so you want to tell people when to expect you to be in. But you can go in at other times too. And you do want to be a participant within and have your teaching assistants also participate within and recognize and answer questions, but you want to find that balance between being in too much and not enough.